Hey, good morning, everybody.
Hey, it's Wednesday.
Wednesday, October 24th, 2018. This is your daily Forex trading strategy session brought to you by Forex.Today. Hosted at the Forex.Today YouTube channel. Please subscribe. What we got on the calendar? Big one today, obviously. Boom, 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 boom. Kitty CAD, Canada, Canadian, interest rate decision. Boom. Does it matter? Will it change things? Yeah, you know what? It could. And I think what happens is a lot of people just get caught on the headline decision and they don't actually read the monetary policy. I think you should read the report. I think you should download it and read it. So that's the big thing that's going to happen. It's not going to happen during our webinar. It's going to happen a little bit later in the morning. So let's go through the dollar pairs. Let's go through gold and oil. Let's go through the yen pairs and let's go. So anyways, nice to meet you. My name is Wayne McDonald. I am the Chief FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. I'll be your host in this webinar. We will cover technical and fundamental analysis, maybe some trader psychology, but really, you're the boss. You control the agenda. I'm just a humble currency trader that's been doing this for at least 15 years. So I've been around. I know a few things, and I'm super happy to share. The reason for it is we want you to succeed. Yeah, Traders Way wants you to succeed. So we invest into your education up front with the hopes that you find success, you find confidence, and when you are ready to trade real money, you will choose Traders Way as your broker. And then as you grow your trading account and grow your track record of success, maybe one day you'll even trade professional funds, and who knows, we can be your prime broker. I don't know. Let's just build a long-term relationship. So that's the whole plan here. So if you could, would you subscribe to the channel? That means when I click stream, you will be invited to join us. And if you're available, just click the button, brings you right in. If you like, I pay attention to that. It's important, especially to YouTube and stuff. But I use it so that I can track if I'm covering the right types of topics. If you leave comments, I do read the comments, stuff like that. So thank you for doing that. But if you're watching a video, leave a comment, and perhaps I can address that that question in the next webinar. So please do all that. And also, almost every day, people say, Wayne, can I get a copy of your charts? The download link is in the description below. It's the indicators, it's the EA, it's the profiles. I think there's, and it's the chart templates. So, and it's the pivot points and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, I don't know, 100 files or something that just installs quick and easy. So anyways, do all that. Well, with that being said, let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. So please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. So once again, guten Morgen. All right. Whew. Yeah, let's go through our charts. Let's try to find some trade setups. I've been working my butt at school, and I'm now done next week's homework in both my classes. Then I truly looked at the reading list that I have for this class I'm doing. My professor used to work at the New York Fed, and we're covering universal basic income. And so there's like 12 of us are going to get together and debate this thing. I got a reading list. I've printed out the first, I don't know, 100 pages? The first 100 pages, 8.5 by 11, not little books. Like, it's like this. And that's the first half. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much to read. So I got a lot of reading to do, and I have 3 papers to write before Friday. Then I will zip up there and we'll go debate this thing. So I think you know what I feel about socialism. So we'll see if they're ready for me, huh?
See if they're ready for me.
So anyways, let's start. We left off at, was it this one, Pig Dog? I think it was this one. We left with this conversation about if you're a bull reacting to this big green candle, right? Remember, like, well, if that makes you a bull, you could buy here. That'd be plan A, and plan B would be buy here. But I said never lose sight of where we're going. Okay, and I think I can even go further out here, right? Where are we going after this sort of lower high? Is this a retracement? I guess to say it differently, buying a rally drop, okay? Buying a rally drop is a bullish trend move, isn't it? Higher high, higher low is bullish, right? So it's interesting to get into a change of trend. There's more to it than just hitting support. So a bull would think, wow, we got pretty close to weekly, monthly support. So these giant green candles mean something important, like reversal, 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 right? But what could you conclude, or not conclude, but what should you note in this situation? How do you trade a double bottom? Do you take the first move? And so the other big thing was, if you were still a bear, you would simply sell at this gray zone. Remember how I went through lower low, lower high, sell, lower low, lower high, sell, lower low, lower high, sell, maybe, right? And that the real next opportunity for bulls is more likely a double bottom of a double bottom, because you need to squeeze the bears out and then entice some bulls in. So you need a reversal pattern at support, not just a touch of support, right? Right? You see that? Okay, right? It's kind of neat, right? So if you had to bet, always bet an existing trend. Down, 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 up, up, sell. Down, 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 up, sell. Down, 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 up, sell. Down, 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 up, buy? Maybe. That might be the case. Yeah, it could be a double bottom. Yeah, we are at support, but I sure would like to see a reversal pattern first. Huh? Enough said, right? Oh, for sure. Okay. Oh, for sure. Well, Joe says, yeah, well, this previous bottom happened so long ago. Well, that's not really the issue per se. I mean, support is support, really. Well, support is support if you think it's support. But time doesn't really affect it. It's not like you're afraid of the boogeyman under your bed and then, one day you just forget about it. The boogeyman disappears as you grow older. It's not like that. There's a reason. Very often there's psych levels and stuff. So, 129,000 is important for a lot of people for some reason. Okay. But the most important thing I'm trying to say is we're lacking a clear trend. It's certainly not up. And so how do you handle this now, but more importantly in the future? And it would be most ideal to have a reversal pattern here before you start being bullish. And if you miss it, you can always catch the pullback. I'd rather you miss the first touch and grab the second chance. Okay. Yeah, you're talking front run next month. Yeah, and And we were master debating about that yesterday. Like, we're still a long ways to the end of the month, right? Okay, so yeah, that could happen. It's definitely there. I don't know if I think I would note it. I think it would be icing on the cake to my own confirmation bias. You know, it'd be something like, oh, I just absolutely know this is going to go up. And then you're like, oh, look at that. It's next week, next month's pivot. Well, I'm just, it's just more to confirm what I already believe. And it can totally be wrong. So I'm not ready to kind of fold that in. But I would feel a lot better. How about this, Brooke? Right? If it did this, and then I threw that in. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it bounced on the monthly, and now I'm grabbing the weekly, and together, the higher high, higher low, 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So no matter how good the story is, it could be better. Okay? And what do you think, guys? This is way too many lines. I can't figure it out. What's he talking about? There's so many lines. Yeah, they're trade plans, bro. They're trade plans. Just look at the future. Look at the trade plans. These are not zigzags, by the way. I actually drew those manually. And I trade. Oh my God, do I trade? I trade every single day. All right. So this is where we were, what, yesterday? Day before? I don't know. Somewhere in here, we had a top. And for traders, the top predicts, you can see these lines here, conservative target, and I think this is the aggressive target, right? So another way of saying it, and I can't draw these ellipses because they resize when I resize my chart, so let's just do it there. Somewhere in there, right? Somewhere, I don't know, let's call it the green pivot profit zone is our target, right? Now, what did we talk about? I guess it was yesterday, Tuesday. What could possibly maybe happen since we hit our target on a Tuesday? We shorted on a Monday, put the money in the bank on a Tuesday. What could possibly happen? No, I'm out of line, Shug. Shug Knight's like, get some lines. I don't know. Huh? What do you have permission in that situation? And I'll give you a hint. We talked about it, and I drew it on the chart. Yeah, a counter trend back to the central pivot point. Yeah, right? I don't want to zoom out. Brooke, if I zoom out, it's going to ruin my beautiful analysis. All right, so it ended up going lower than this. I think we were up here when I did the analysis. It went down into our box, right? Scored a goal, headed up. And so the target is the weekly central pivot point in this situation, right? Now, if you took the swing trading course, I recorded a video, I don't know, what, 3 years ago that said in this situation, it very often goes back to the weekly central pivot. And the weekly central pivot is here. What? Cheta, please. Oh my God, right? Huh? What? You're joking, right? Look at that. That's cool. That's crazy, right? So how many years have I been doing that? If I can do a video like 2 or 3 years ago, I don't think that's in my book. So it wouldn't have been 10. But anyways, that's crazy, right? Look how close the bottom is. Okay, so we missed the bottom by what? 1, maybe 2 pips, and the top is exactly the pip, right? Jimbo says no 1, 2, 3. Well, it depends on your time frame, Jimbo. Okay, this is a 1, 2, 3. Okay, certainly this one. There's little micro ones in here. Okay. So go back to back on Tuesday, we were here. Let me mark it with an X. We were here, right? We're somewhere near it. And I talked about, you have to make a decision. Is this almost a touch, close enough? And I said, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, every time that's a decision. That's a decision. I don't know. Almost touching very often is close enough. So I don't know. You have to pay attention. Are you still a bear here? Or should you look for a reversal pattern? Well, you can see we never got a reversal pattern. Okay, so you have to make the decision. Okay, so which means you could, I don't know, whatever. And then it came down, and then it did what it was supposed to do. Okay. So I don't know. Nobody said it was easy. No one said it would be this damn hard. All right. So here we are on this one, USD CAD. And I think you remember this one. This is a big short, and nobody wants to buy the Canadian dollar. If you were a bull, we had plan A to buy, plan B to buy. We haven't even got past plan A. And I'd still include this as plan A if I were me. I mean, come on, it's a piv. So yeah, very neutral, huh? Well, we got our interest rate decision coming up, and I would have to venture to guess that this will probably change. It'll break out one way or the other. So you want your Brooks buying kitty cat. So you're dumping this, right? Are you doing it against the dollar? Or are you doing this against the yen? Are you doing this against Swissy? Anyone trading CAD Swissy today? Oh my God, do I pray? I pray every single day for Canadian interest rates. Maybe it doesn't exist. No one has ever traded CAD Swissy before. Euro Swissy, Pound Swissy, Aussie Swissy, Swissy. There it is. Wow, even. All right, even that. Wow. Well, that doesn't look incredible, does it? So, like, when I analyze things, I look at this and, like, do any of these pivots actually have meaning? If they have meaning, like people are trading them, then I say, all right, there's truly a market here. It's not just Canadian dollar happens to be going up and down. Swissy happens to be going up and down. So this chart's going to go up and down. But I have to ask myself, based on this chart, do I believe people are trading CAD Swissy? And here I kind of feel like they are, and here I kind of feel like they're not. Notice the weekly swing puts you long here. And that says Canada's going to raise interest rates. Well, when did they price it in, Brooks? So Brooks is 97% priced in. Like when? Right? Again, often I see that like in other people's analysis, they're like, oh yeah, well, you know, it's 97% priced in, right? I'm like, okay, good. When? When did they price it in? Let's see it. Where do you, right? So I don't know if that's your analysis or someone else's, but all I see is this. And we're going to, here's our challenge point. Of course, that's where we are now, but that makes sense too. You know, I don't see like significant pricing in. Unless you go back to the 10th of the month, but I don't know if they're pricing things in 2 weeks early and all that. Maybe. Right? What's up, Wokey? Right? That's my my Wookiee sound. Okay. So I don't know. It's just so Brooke, I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just like I have to get beyond opinion, right? So I don't know if that's your opinion, someone else's opinion. But if I was on a panel discussion and someone's like, "Oh, well, you know, this CAD thing's you know all priced in," I'm like, "Good, where? Show me. Where on the chart? Where did it get priced in? When did people buy or sell it? Like, show me." Show me the money. When did it get priced in? Right? Okay. Yeah. So, you know, it's funny. It's just that, and again, I'm not saying it's you. I'm saying there are a lot of people, in particular experts, that speak on TV or conferences or something, and they say that instead of saying, I don't know. I don't know. Because they feel vulnerable, like they can't say no. If they say I don't know, they're no longer an expert, right? So they're like, oh well, it's just priced in, you can't do it. Well, it's always priced in, bro, right? That's what a chart is, price and time. So I like to dig a little deeper than that. Say, well, who priced it in, and who says they're right, right? So, anyways. So all I see is a pattern. I'm like, this is working. Yeah, it's working slow. But how about this? In the opposite of pricing in, nobody's pricing anything because they're waiting for the interest rate decision. So it's the opposite. Nobody's doing anything. But this pattern is still working. This is a double bottom, higher high. In that scenario, I'd expect a higher low, higher high. And so far, that ain't wrong. Okay. So I don't see anything priced in. That's all. Every single day. What do we here? Okay. Cool. So nothing happening here, but maybe CAD Swissy is a better move, right? So if CAD Swissy goes up, this should go down. And look, we're still off the, this is a key level pivot, guys. And just above it is a key level pivot. So there are some bears here. Oh, for sure, triple topped. Right? If I had my glasses, I'd be able to tell you that price. What is that, 132? Honestly, I can't see it. 131? I guess it's 131.20. You know, yeah, 131.21. Right? These are hourly charts for 3 hours. Actually, how about this one? Ginormous spike. We got within 1 pip, totally stopped it. Several hours later, we get back. 1, 2, 3, 4 hours we test it. Drops on Monday, comes back. Tests again, drops. Tests a third time, drops. You know, at one point, are you going to roll this over? Oh, man. Who does this, right? Who sets the default colors to yellow? Some programmers. On my previous trading platform, which was the Dealbook 360, the default color for the red line was yellow. But the name was red line, and it was a line, and the default color for the red line was yellow. Like, that's a programmer that needs a slap. And I'm sure he'd say, well, nobody told me, bro. Nobody told me. Nobody told me. Okay, I guess I'll leave that red. That's not an arc. Oh, I guess there it is. Nah, that's no good. That's no good. I guess that's what I'm looking for. Just trying to draw a visualization here. Right? Not on my deal book. Jimbo, are you still using a deal book? That deal book used to be like a friend of the family. I traded that much. That's not Blue Mountain. Yeah, they're done. They killed it, huh? It's too bad. All right. And I pray every single day. Excuse me. It's too bad these things don't resize. That's another sort of a thing. Anyways. So let's go back 2 weeks ago. We have plan A, plan B for sell, sell. Then we make a lower low. Remember, I highlighted a pivot. I highlighted old support. And our new trade plan for the week was sell or sell. And now we're done for the week. Okay. I would have preferred it went a little higher. All that kind of stuff. Is there anything here technically that would, besides the trend, is this a perfect move? No, it's not a perfect move. But it does use price action. Lower low, lower high, sell. Lower low, lower high, sell. Lower low, lower high, sell. And you kind of just rinse and repeat until that stops working. Okay. Now, when will it stop working? Oh, that's a really good question. I think it'll stop working like soon. Okay. So that's just pure price action, but price action doesn't necessarily tell you where it's going to return. and somewhere in this gray zone. Okay. So it could be here. So you know, it could be something like that, or it'd be something like that. Okay. So I think taking profit sometime soon might be an interesting idea. Look how long ago I drew this horizontal line. It's been weeks now. Okay. So yeah, well, how about this? Would you agree with me if I said I think this would probably act as a support area? And it just comes down to that. Okay. Now, someone might play this one, and that's where we are now. So now we both agree somewhere in that, between those two lines, right? Between those lines, probably be supportive. And then going back to a top would probably be somewhere in here. Okay. Which is, pretty close to next month's sell zone, which I may or may not want to see. But if you agree with this, then we're closer to the bottom. And selling now, see, selling here was great. Selling here was great. Selling here was great. Selling now is pretty dumb. Okay, you see what I mean? Yeah, Guy says, now that we've hit monthly support on oil, maybe that provides some strength for the kitty cat. Yeah, sure. I pray every single day. So I want oil to go up. I'd like positive global macroeconomic news. I want to see economic activity. Because economic activity provides work, and when you have work, you have income, and when you have income, you eat better food, you live in a safer neighborhood, your children get more education, you have better access to health care, and everything improves. And here I am going to Harvard to debate universal basic income. Like, I'm going to pay somebody to do nothing? Why? I'd rather give them work. Right? You hungry? Mow my lawn. Economic activity and output is greater for the whole. So, I don't know. And then I guess you could argue that's what socialism is, too. So then I take it even a step further. And years ago, I wrote a paper that I actually designed an economic system. But entrepreneurialism was the key and cornerstone of it. And there was a tax on the wealthy to give to the poor, but it was done designed in a very specific manner, which reinvested into a family core or family unit, all that kind of stuff, which is not socialism. I'm like, there should be an Uber for everything. There should be an Uber for people available near my neighborhood right now that are willing to mow my lawn. And the price should be competitive, and it should be like now. And then I'm like, you know what? I should have my toilets cleaned. Boom. Right? But I'm transferring money to a person who wants to work for it. And I find that very entrepreneurial, right? But so anyways, this going up shows economic activity. And to me, economic activity is a good thing. Yeah, and Rob's like, yeah, it's true. Right? The guy, so like, if that was my job, I was doing, mowing lawns like Uber, right? And I mowed, this lawn while I'm in the neighborhood. I'd knock on all the doors of all the other neighbors, speak with them. Do you need your lawn mowed? I'm here anyways. I'll give you a deal. By the way, here's my business card and here's my flyer. I'm doing a monthly special. You know, if you sign up for a year, you know, all this kind of stuff. And like, I would hustle because I'm a hustler. I'm a mother hustler, right? That's what an entrepreneur is. So I want to see that the entire world is hustling, and you know, a need for energy means like businesses are running, factories are running, all that kind of stuff. We're moving things around, and moving things around, in particular, moving money around, is important to a foreign exchange trader. Now, Chuck Duck says it's supply side issue. Yeah, I don't argue that. Okay, but you know, we want both. We want both of these things, right? He's like, that was my first job when I was 16. Yeah. I tell my kids, like, my kids are like 12 now. I'm like, look, I had 2 newspaper routes that had to be delivered before 7 a.m. Okay. The reason I had 2 routes is I made so much money on the first route, right? That I begged, borrowed, and got my way into getting a second route. So I just had to get up like 2 hours earlier. What's the big deal? And both routes had to be done before 7 a.m. And in Canada, you walked to the front door and you folded the newspaper and you put it in the mailbox. You didn't just do it like they do in America, throw it on the ground. How pathetic. What a disgusting, pathetic thing to throw it out of a car window. And it's a 50-year-old dude throwing it out a car window and it just lands somewhere in my bushes. That's pathetic. I walked to the front door carrying the newspapers, and I folded it beautifully so that when you took the newspaper out, you saw the headline. I cared about it. Put it in the mailbox, right? Oh, and did I mention it's minus 40, snowing, right? And then on the weekends, I worked at hockey games. And very quickly, by the time I was 12, became a manager. So I went to a very poor school in a very tough neighborhood where everyone was poor. There was prostitutes in my elementary school. And I'm driving an Italian mountain bike when mountain bikes were brand new. People were still riding BMXs and they're like, what's he got? That's a mountain bike. Like, yeah, from Italy, biatch. And by the way, this is my gold pen. I was like a pimp in 7th grade. I'm like a pimp. I'm writing with gold pen. They're like, you don't have a gold pen? Your mama poor? Right? Yeah, but that's what Canada was. You got to be a hustler. You need money? Work. Right? So anyways, that's where I come from. Apparently Guy too. But it was great. It was great. Yeah, I only had to work, get up super early in the morning every day, and then work late at night. That's all. Yeah. All right. So anyways, economic activity. Yeah. Bring it back, right? Economic activity. Yeah. Supply side, demand side, all of that's all good. So have you updated your information recently? Wow, what was that all about? Delete. How do we do this? We can try it this way. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Right? Okay, so that's where we are. Why is the demand curve sloped downward? Huh?
price?
Everybody know? Because when you want to buy, okay, so if price is high, can I change this? I can change this, can I? Cool. All right, so when price is high, okay, when price equals this level here, how much do you want to buy at this price? Not very much. Okay? So if you did it the other way, if price was now this level, how much do you want to buy? As much as you can get, especially if you think it's worth this higher price. Okay? So this is why the demand curve slopes down. Oh, I typed it the wrong one, no wonder. Okay? You got it? And then the opposite's true. Okay, so let's just label that. All right. So who said it? Chuck. Chuck's like, it's a supply issue. Okay, cool. Do we have a lot of supply? That's what Chuck is saying. There's too much supply. So notice that quantity gets bigger to the right. So we got to move this. Oops. We got to move this now to the right. Okay. And this shift changes things. So let me just label it like this. I like to throw the arrows on my charts, especially in an exam. Because if you have to move both of these things, it gets complicated. But this is what Chuck's saying. Okay? So now we have a new equilibrium point. Oops. Little grab. Yeah, that, you got it. Okay, there's our new equilibrium point. Okay. At that price, how much will be demanded? Okay, or sorry, at this quantity. So quantity, let me move this now. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done this. All right. At this, we were here at the equilibrium point. Okay. So I got to get rid of this now because we delete. Maybe it makes more sense if I do it like this. We were here. Okay. We were at that point right there in the middle. Insert shape. Okay. We were here. Okay. We were at that price and that quantity, which is equilibrium. This is a market that's super happy. It's getting what it needs and it's getting a decent price. Okay? So now we're at this new area, right? So we've increased our supply of oil. So we shift this supply curve to the right. The slope stays the same. Okay? And now we get to this new area here. Okay? So we have more oil. So oil shifted, right? As I indicated here. So I guess maybe, why don't I just move that? So we move this to there. Sorry, I like doing this stuff. So if I've gone too far, sorry. So we went from Q1, let's call Q1, we'll call it 5. Okay. So we went from 5 to Q2, which we will call 7. Okay. So there's more oil. We went from 5 oil to 7 oil. Okay? And because of this shift, right? Price fell. Of course, you got to finish the chart now. From P1, what would we call that? 8. And now the price went from 8 to 6. Okay? So that's what Chuck's talking about. He says, well, the reason oil is down, is not a demand issue. Okay? It's a supply issue. And I agree with that. It's been a supply issue for a while, right? Now, if you add to this demand, so if we can get demand to move from demand 1 to demand 2, so this is a shift from supply 1 to supply 2, so S1, S2. If we can then increase demand, then we could, right? What would we do? There's only so much quantity, right? Oops. So price goes up. New equilibrium point. Okay? Same amount, just higher price. Can you apply the actual economic calendar numbers? Sure. Yeah, Trey Leon. Yeah, sorry. I like this stuff. I like economics. I used to laugh at econ majors. I'm like, oh, econ majors. They flunked out of business school. And here I am, an economist. What is this? Do I have gray spot? Ugh. Global economics. Gregor, global economics. Officially, it's global studies with a concentration in economics. So another way of looking at it is macroeconomics. Ba, 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 ba. And gold. This was that big spike I was laughing at. What was it, yesterday? You remember that? Like do you remember someone was freaking out? Look at gold, gold is taking off, right? Is that Greg? It's all good, Greg. It's all good. Learn how to trade, right? Just trade profitably, and then you're like, oh, by the way, I have some live BS degree in economics, and they'll say, oh, that makes sense. That's why he's such a good trader. Yeah. Yeah, it was, okay, so maybe that's a great education just of itself, guys, where this is taking off, and I'm like, why is that a big deal? If you were a bull, you would have bought it here, like we said. You wouldn't be surprised. Someone that's surprised is someone that didn't have a trade plan. So now what do you want to do? Right? Well, someone who wasn't surprised could have said, oh, I'm going to counter trend this into it. Now, I don't like doing that kind of trade. But what if you were a bull? You'd buy it here, wouldn't you? And are you surprised that it broke out and retraced back? No, that's actually a trade plan, right? It's a trade plan. You're like, oh, look, it broke out. See, that's how you need to react. Like when gold breaks out like that, you're like, oh, look, it broke out. Can't wait for the retracement. Think I'll grab a roll reversal, but I don't expect that to happen till tomorrow. That doesn't look like, oh my God, look at gold. Gold's like a rocket ship, right? That just screams, I have no idea what's going on, and that's really surprising. You imagine working in a hedge fund? Hey guys, look at gold! Oh my God! I had no idea! Right? Like nobody does that. Everyone's like, yeah, you have to play it cool. You're like, yeah, I planned that out like a week ago, right? But you don't freak out and let everybody know you have no idea what's going on. Right? You're like, oh yeah. Yeah, I walked from that. I don't like it. It's too high. Yeah, look at candle, everybody. Everybody jump in. Everybody go, 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 go. Oops. Everybody go. Let's go. Yeah, it's funny. But, you know, people do it. So whoever said it's probably in the room. I'm not bugging. I'm not picking on you. It's an attitude change I'm trying to make. All right? So I don't know who said it. I'm not, I'm not a bully. I'm trying to make an emotional connection. And sometimes a slap in the face is the best emotional connection. But I'm trying to change the way you guys think. Remember, you're smart enough to be able to do this. And a lot of guys here, a lot of guys and gals here are really good technically. Like they have the skills to do this. But then there's still a gap between where they are now financially and where they'd like to be, right? They'd like to make more money, but not at the sake of risk. So, how do you get to that next step? So I'm trying to make an emotional connection, good or bad. Maybe it's funny, maybe it's insulting, maybe it's somewhere in between. Sometimes it's a hug, sometimes it's a slap in the face. But these emotional connections are important to any kind of coaching and mentoring role. I think you would agree. Every once in a while, the football coach should come in and yell at all the players if it's required, right? And then other times it's an emotional speech, a motivational speech. But, it's got to be carrot and stick. So anyways, either it's an emotional connection. So I'm trying to get you to think differently. And so now maybe it's called anchoring. If I can create in some people's brains a picture in your mind now, if you see like some guy working at a hedge fund and he stands up and he's yelling across the trading floor, hey, everybody, look, gold is just taking off. Like, right? I have no idea what's going on. It's so surprising. Maybe I'll throw a whole bunch of money in and see what happens. Oh my God, right? Like, that doesn't happen, but isn't that a funny picture? Right? And so next time you see a giant green candle or a giant red candle, and you can feel like the urge to trade it, you can just think of the guy standing up, letting everybody in the office know that there was no plan. They had no idea this was coming, right? And that they're freaking out. So in this freak out emotional stage, maybe they should gamble a whole bunch of money. Right? You see what I mean? Like that just would not happen. So if I can anchor that image, okay? So like when I talk about stop hunting, for example, I often talk about London boys on a Friday afternoon, right? Right? And there's a, pea in the khakis image, right? You freak them out. You force them out of their trades. You're hunting their stops. And their fear gets them out of the trade, and you're the one that makes them fearful. So if you can think of a London trader Friday afternoon and he's got a little, pea stain on his khakis, that's because of you. You're forcing them out of the trade. Now, if you can remember these images and file them away, very often there's a lesson learned. Because we anchor things. Humans are quite visual. If you were a dog, I'd have to use smell. Okay? Right? But no, you're visual. So ideally, we can anchor the words of wisdom, which is intellectual. I can anchor them emotionally and then tie that to an image so that you can recall it. Now, why is emotion important? The reason for it is, in my opinion, and of course I'm right, in my opinion, people make decisions emotionally. And then they try to justify it intellectually. Even the most intellectual person is making an emotional decision, and they're just covering it up. They're completely masking it with their intellect. Oh, well, I don't have emotions. This is all intellect. Yeah, well, except you're afraid that your mommy thinks you're dumb. So you have to put on this facade. But anyways, that's where I go with that. More than words. Jimbo says it's more than words. Yeah, it's it's neuro-linguistic programming. So if I'm going to actually physically change the shape of your brain, these things are important. Is all I ever needed you to show, then you wouldn't have to say. Yeah. So this one that didn't work. This one didn't work, bro. Sideways, sideways, down, back up, down. So sorry about that. This one didn't work out. Still on support, but if you're a bull, you're very interested in the double bottom if it rears its ugly head, right? Ozzy, once again, double bottom in play. Could be a rabbit, could be. Beautiful play, so what a beautiful double bottom. Look at that. That's redonkulous. So now it's not really a higher high, higher low scenario, but if you really wanted this, like you really wanted this, you're right. This was your buy zone. So who knows? Drop into maybe a 15 and see if you can help this cycle out. Okay. This is frightening, of course, that this is happening here, but okay. South Africa. Okay. Once again, no real change. CAD. I'm just going to kill this. Okay. And we sit and we wait. And Kiwi. Inverse head and shoulders. Higher high, higher low. Look at that plan. Not perfect, but profitable. And then what? And then we're caught up here, and really it's sideways right now. Okay. Swing traders had an opportunity here and here. Swing trading bears are here. Swing trading bulls are here. Stuck in the middle of the range, clear as mud. So what do you think? Any last questions? Not a lot going on some of these yen pairs. A lot of sideways, a lot of like maybe double bottoms, a lot of consolidation. That's cool. That CAD has built up energy, but we're waiting for the interest rate decision now in about 90 minutes. You want me to watch a documentary here? Well, since I haven't had time to comb my hair in the last 4 days, at this point I'm just showering, throwing clothes on, and running down. I'm eating dinners like this. My wife's just like, come up and eat. I'll sit down with the kids. We got it. Just come up and eat when you need to eat. So what am I going to sit and watch a documentary and discuss? I like it. I like the idea. Yeah. Chuck says seasonality taking a back seat. No. I don't believe that's the case. Okay. Stick with it. What's the plan? Follow through on the seasonality until the last day of 2018. Okay. So like, for example, this was fine, and then this is fine. Okay. I think what you're seeing though, who asked that? Jimbo. No, Chuck. I think what you're seeing here, Chuck, is that, these are not like a clear, straight one-way trend. And ask yourself, do you have a straight, clear, one-way trend in global macroeconomics? Well, Europe is still in shambles. Yet another European country folding, right? There's some hiccups in China due to Europe, right? Really, I've been saying this for years. It's the Europeans that are, the cause now at this point of mediocrity on a global level, because there's like 400 million people that should have money, but they don't. Right? But they didn't let Greece default. So anyways, there's a lag there, and this thing called Brexit was a big distraction. So we're still dealing with that. Still dealing with the European economic recovery. Apparently socialism doesn't work, but they're slowly learning. So that's a real drag on macroeconomics. That slows China down as far as their manufacturing capability, right? So therefore, there's less demand for commodities from countries like Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. And then, of course, emerging markets like Brazil, for example, Argentina, Russia, they could be moving product, but they're not as much as they should be. So there's a real lag here. We need these 400-500 million, Europeans to create some economic activity so that they can increase their wealth, right? And therefore, with their marginal propensity to consume, they'll start buying stuff, ideally from foreign countries, and then you get things like macroeconomics and money supply and all that changing in a way that's favorable for all. Do we have that right now? No. Okay, an update for the templates. The programmer is redoing everything so that we don't have to rely on MailChimp to send you the emails. Now, they're one of the most reliable in the world, but again, when 20 or 30% of you have trouble downloading, not even downloading, you sign up and then you don't get the email. Makes no sense, of course. So there's something else going on. With that being said, I'm still spending money developing a different system that doesn't use MailChimp and hopefully is more consistent. So, but if you got to the download page, which means to get to the download page, you need to receive the email. Okay. Well, we had a little meeting there yesterday, Gregor. Yeah, so next week, yeah, we're going to have a full-time person there every single day so that we could really build that group up. There was an update on that site, an update. I don't even know what updated, but it was one of these forced updates. And it absolutely destroyed things. It destroyed a database, and oh my gosh. So I have a programmer over there trying to go through and trying to figure out what went wrong, what's broken, what's not broken, what needs to be repaired, can it be repaired? But it was just like, again, one of these forced updates just absolutely destroyed, right? But the MetaTraders group is very important to me, and I have very important things I want to do with that group. So this just, you know, there was a family crisis I had last week, and now this week with school, and I'm just struggling to keep my head above water. Right now, I got water in one nostril. So hopefully I can just keep things alive till next week, and then hopefully those programmers do their job, which fingers crossed they can do it, and then it's all done, and we just move on next week. Okay. Yeah, well, what looks different, Greg, is when the update destroyed the database, for some reason, it can't access the image file anymore. So like the images are gone is what the difference is. And you're like, what? If you don't know what it is, don't worry about it. It's not important to you at this time. So anyways, yeah, but exactly, Chuck. So, you know, I just ask during this period of time that you stick with me and you're patient with me, and I'm always doing 110, 120%. I think at this point I'm doing 150, and just everyone around me is giving me slack. My wife, my children, you guys, other things. But I'm trying to be superhuman. And it's not as easy as you'd think. So anyways, let's call it a day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above average. Don't click that. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.